All right, it's time for me to give out some more of my ideas that are probably not going to happen, but I think would still be interesting to see. So, I did a video over a year ago about how Nico Robin has been wasted in the New World era of the series. That since the time skip started, she's kind of just been sitting in the background. Even in Dressrosa, where she's one of the few Straw Hats there, she doesn't really do much compared to everybody else. Um, so, I decided that because a lot of times I like offering my idea so that people don't say you just want something but don't know how they would do it. Um, I think one arc, and it could be 50 chapters, it could be 60, it could be 70. It doesn't have to be 100, but I'd say probably 50, 60, 70, 80. One arc could easily do away with a lot of criticisms I have directed toward the character since the time skip period happened. Um, and we just have to kind of delve into Robin's backstory a little bit. So we know that she was with Crocodile as the person right underneath him at CP Baroque Works. Excuse me, all these organizations, I get them mixed up. But we know she was with Crocodile for 4 years, and we've never really seen much of what occurred during that time. And I think Oda would be really cool if during this hypothetical arc I'm imagining, we get some flashbacks of the different types of people that she fought. And one of the good things about these flashbacks is these are going to take place before hockey was really a thing that had to be in every single arc ever. So these hypothetical fights between Robin and other characters, again in the flashbacks, could invoke the earlier parts of the series where you had to rely on your wits and other types of things to defeat someone instead of who has the better hockey. Um, Now, there are some people who will say, oh, creating new characters is hard, and creating someone who can fight Robin back and forth is even more difficult. But I believe in Oda as a creator simply because, he's made all kind of unique powers before. He could have somebody that maybe has some fruit where they shed their skin, and every time she puts one of her hands on them, it just comes off. There's an idea. But yeah, two or three fights and flashbacks, along with maybe a fight in the present time, would probably would do a lot to make up for my criticism that she doesn't get to fight anymore. Um, because that's something I've been really irritated by. Now, during this same hypothetical arc, you could easily throw in one of the other supernova by saying, "Oh, they want her to read poneglyphs for them or to learn something else." Um, and it obviously wouldn't probably be Law because he's like an honorary straw hat at this point, just from how much he just hangs around them and is always with them. You could have Eustace Kid, because see, that would like go into the thing of having Luffy and Kid have a rivalry and like a real hatred for each other. Not as much as with Blackbeard, because it's not like he's threatening to kill anybody, but like that same thing of, oh, you're going after this person I care about, you don't mess with a member of my crew. You could invoke that same type of emotion with Kid doing something like that. And we know Kid is underhanded enough to do something like that. I don't know what the relationship like between Luffy and Kid's going to be after Wano. But if you don't want to use Kid, you could use Basil Hawkins, because maybe he could pull out his little cards and go, I find a 99% chance that if I have Nico Robin by my side, we can read the poneglyphs. Just you could pretty much use any other supernova, other than maybe Law and Capone Beige. Those only two, because Beige, allied with the Strides temporarily. But that would be a good way of like bringing Beige back and just having him, be like antagonistic in a way. But I do like him, and I don't really want to see him get beat up. So that's probably my biggest. And I have another idea for something they could do with him if they want to use him a second time. Um, And somebody might say, with these flashback fights, right? 20 chapters of Robin having flashback battles with different people that she encountered and fought while she was Miss All Sunday. That's too much. And I'm like, well, that might sound like a lot, right? 20 chapters, but or 10 or 15, whatever, some double digit number. But Odin, a character who we only heard the name of, was allowed to get what, 10 chapters of flashbacks? And I'm just gonna just put this out there. Robin's been a much more prominent character in the series. She's a much more popular character. So I feel like if Odin can have 10 chapters of flashback for him, we should be able to get 10, 15, or 20 for Robin. Again, just by virtue of who's more popular, who's played a bigger role in the series. I think that's fair. Um, Hell, you could make an argument that she should have 30 or 40, but I don't want to get crazy here. Um, you could also use this arc to tell us something about Katarina Devon. And the reason I throw her in there is because a lot of people believe that her and Robin are going to end up fighting each other against the Blackbeard pirates. And I made the criticism that Blackbeard's whole crew, with the exception of himself, are like these very, I want to say bland characters, but they're characters we don't know anything about, who've never messed with the Straw Hats for the most part, other than Burgess and Dressrosa. So I think it would be really cool if, let's say, Devon is there for some reason, right, under Blackbeard's orders, or maybe just she's taking her own initiative. That could make her more independent from him, and she's shape shifting and like going invisible to like spy on the Straw Hats and Robin and whatever they're doing in this particular arc. And you could have Robin figure this out with her intellect, because she's known for her high intelligence, and then have some fight between the two of them that either ends with Robin getting defeated or with Robin like barely winning, or like some kind of draw, because it's supposed to be like a preview for their eventual big battle at the end of the presuming the Blackbeard Pirates are the final villains. This could be a preview for their final battle, or their major real battle, during the last fight of the last arc and fight of the series. Also, an arc about Robin's time with Baroque Works, where she's like currently trying to read poneglyphs and do all this other stuff, could also expound the backstory of Crocodile. Because one of the things a lot of major antagonists, especially in the New World era, tend to have are like flashbacks and backstories. And we really don't know anything about Crocodile's past. And I feel like, given how much he trusted Robin when she was with Baroque Works, um, to where she was the only one that knew his identity, it would make a lot of sense for her to divulge, like, oh, his mom was this, his dad was that, he met the Revolutionary Army at this age, just different things that she could either reveal without us having a flashback. But a flashback would be nice because it would be cool to see, like, to not, instead of having to think about it in our heads, to actually have it put in front of us. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff you could do with a New World Nico Robin arc. And it doesn't have to be as long as Dressrosa or Wano or Whole Cake Island, but a good 40, 50, 60 chapters could do a lot for this character. She's one of the most important characters in the series, one of the most recurring, and I think it's such a disservice that Mr. Moore's the video talking about the main characters of those first five Straw Hats. And I agree with that sentiment on the premise that, the New World's only really done stuff with those initial five, but Robin's been around so long, and she has a lot of, Oda could easily make loads and loads of stories relating to the time that she was with Baroque Works. Remember, all of One Piece, the entire series from chapter 1 to what's going to end up being chapter 1017, this all takes place over a 3-year period. So it's my point in mentioning that is you can infer the same amount of time, actually slightly longer, because it's 4 years when Robin started working with Baroque Works to when she was betrayed by Crocodile. You could easily draw up a whole bunch of different ideas and stories in that same period. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I could flesh this idea out more if somebody requested, but those are my main points. I think it would do a lot for her character. I think it would be a really good way to give, if you do something with Katarina Devon, give her something independent from Blackbeard before the end of the series, and a actual conflict with Robin, since it looks like those two are going to fight each other at the end of the series. So there's a lot that can be done with an arc about her, and I think it's very much warranted. I know that Oda wants to wrap things up supposedly in 5 years, but of all the characters who should just get some big portion of the series that's about them a second time, because she had Ennis Lobby, and then that's kind of been it after that, just tilting more and more to the background. I think she should be at the forefront again. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.